has entered my mind. So I woke up. I laid there for a few minutes, couldn't go back to sleep. Then these words. What are you running from? That's the message. What are you running from? This message may be for you. Indeed, there's many times in our lives that we find ourselves running from something, something, because we don't have the strength to face it. So we run. I've done it. I've run from confrontation before in the workplace. It was all new to me and stuff, and I didn't know how to respond to it. I thought, I can't deal with this. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to run. So I ran. I ran. Ran away. Quit my job and ran away. That's before I started growing, and I learned that I can speak up. I don't have to run away. I can speak up, resign the right way, and then leave. I learned to tough it out, learn to grow up. But what are you running from? This is the message, and good morning. Shalom. The storm woke you up. Well, I hope it's not a bad storm. Indeed, we face many storms in our lives that literally wake us up, spiritually speaking. Sometimes it takes a massive, massive storm in our life to wake us up, to get our attention. Sometimes that storm needs to hit us head on, before we will listen. The storm will chase you. It will. These storms that enter your life, these spiritual storms, forces of the spiritual realm, different aspects of it, they will chase you down until they catch you. They'll cause so many storms to come into your life until you stop in your tracks and you face what it is you're running from. And this may not be for everybody, but this is the message that was laid on my heart. It is, what are you running from? We've all ran. What did it get us? It brought us a little bit of peace. You know, how can you laugh about it? I can just laugh about it. It brought us a little bit of peace and comfort. We escaped it for that time and maybe another time. But there comes a time. It's funny if you think about it. There comes a time when you find out, shoot, I can't run from it now. I've already used up all of my running time. I don't have any more options. The spiritual realm is not going to let me run this time, and now I've got to face it. Oh, booga. You'll make sure to pack an extra lunch. That's right, y'all. I'm going to have a drink of my tea. I brought my tea up here. I'm drinking from it's my cup of love. It's nice and warm. Warm to my being now. Good morning, Dragonfly. Yeah, Crystal, hello. Hello, everyone. If you're just tuning in, what are you running from? What are you silly human beings running from? You spiritual beings in this human body, having a human experience. What are you running from? And isn't it getting a little bit old, especially if you have ran your whole life? You've got to laugh at yourself. You really do. this is the first time I sat back and I laughed at myself from running away because I didn't want to confront what was right there in front of me. Well, it's like, well, that's fine. I can't deal with it. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't have the tools, the knowledge. I don't have the real world experience to deal with it. And if I deal with it, well, I just might break down. And sometimes I tried to deal with it. I did, and I just broke down and cried, and I just ran away. That's what I've done before, you all. I admit it. From certain circumstances, couldn't find the words. I couldn't even express myself. I couldn't. All I knew is I was being hurt. I was being hurt, and I was being done wrong. So I ran, because I didn't like the hurt. I didn't. I couldn't realize how cruel people could be. They didn't. I thought everybody would be nice to one another. I did. I can use myself as an example. The times that I ran away, I thought everybody would be nice because they should be nice in my book. Everybody should treat each other with love and kindness. You shouldn't speak mean to someone else and belittle them and talk about them and stab them in the back and do all that kind of stuff. You shouldn't be that way just because they're different, just because they're quiet, just because they're happy. You shouldn't do that. And when you're thrown into the world and you find out the hard way, you gotta grow up really fast. Talking about children who have to grow up really fast at a physical age, think of an adult. You've got to grow up like that little child at a grown-up age really fast because you didn't know how to grow up. You didn't know what this big world, this great big playground out there was like. You didn't know there was bullies out there. Children, when you're small, you experience it. But as you get bigger, that childlike aspect of you is still there, and you venture into the real world, and you find these bullies in the real world. You find this world is not too nice, and you don't know how to deal with it. You were never prepared to deal with it because perhaps your parents, they knew how to deal with it. They've been there, done that. That's how they survived, but they didn't teach you. I guess they felt, well, you got to wing it. You got to wing it. Find out on your own. You'll find out. Well, it would have been nice to give me a forewarning of how cruel people could be, how humans can treat other humans. It would have been, but this is the message that entered my mind upon waking up, and I thought, I just want to close my eyes. I just want to go back to sleep. No, Gina, get up out of bed. It's the time. What are you running from? You've ran your whole life. Some of you have ran your whole entire life. And you've ran your whole entire life when it comes to certain situations. You have. When you are up against the same thing over and over, because it does. Think about it. Think about it. It comes back around, and you get another chance to face it. And you decide, well, no, makes me too uncomfortable. I can't even find the words. I can't even find the strength, the emotions. It terrifies me. So I'm just going to run as fast as I can so I can feel free. And you do feel free. I remember when doing that. Came home, sat on the couch and looked out the window. I felt that load off of my shoulders. I just got rid of it. Thought, no, I'm not going to carry it. It's good to get rid of it. And I did. And it was nice. That burden was lifted. Then a few years pass. Find myself right back there. Right back there. The same situation, but it intensified every time it came back around. There was more intensity added to it, spiritually speaking. I might have built myself up a little bit the first time I ran away. And then the second time I ran away. But by the third time, I had a major hurricane, a major spiritual hurricane that chased me down, that I had to face. And I had to stand in that hurricane. I did. I didn't even get to stand in the eye of the hurricane, in the eye of the storm. I didn't. It was, I felt it all around me, all around me. I stuck around. I did. I thought, you're not going to run me off. Kept making bad decisions, stuck around. It was so intense. It was so intense. I wanted to run away. I did. And I didn't. I became stubborn and bullheaded. And then finally, I thought, that's about right. It's about right. I knew what I was doing. I was totally aware of what I was doing because I kept running away and I would not confront. 3 times. That was the third time. And let me tell you what. Oh, that hurricane got my attention. It did. It battered me and shattered me. It did. Battered and shattered. Because before that happened, I had personal hurricane storm in my life. It just got compounded. It did. You can't put no Band-Aid. You can't brush over it, you all. You can't just, I said, okay, I got this. You go ahead. And you feel like you got this. You go ahead and you just march forward in that life. Because that's what you're supposed to do. With a false sense of security, you just go right ahead. Even though you had enough security and you had enough courage and stuff to walk forward, you didn't know what you was walking into. You did not know what you were walking into. If this is your third time around facing that which you ran away from, the third time around. Why 3? Yeah, I found the hurricane. It caught up with me. I was in it. I didn't get to stand in the calmness of it. No, it battered me, shredded me, beat me down. It did. But you know what? It wasn't until that moment where it battered me and beat me down and shredded me to pieces. I mean, I didn't have physical scars. I had them all over me. I had wounds all over my body. I stood up. I did. I thought, you know what? No more. I found my voice. I found some actions to match my voice, and I stood my ground. I remember taking a piece of paper, and I thought, you know what? I don't need this job. I don't need this abuse. I don't need to be treated like that. I'm not going to be treated like that. I'm not going to have you speak to me like that. I'm not. I stood in front of that supervisor while they sat there and looked at me like, go ahead, do it. Let's see what you're made of, Gina. You can't do it. Oh, I did it. I ripped that paper up right in front of that supervisor's face. Then I crumbled it up and I threw it in the trash can. I said, I'm leaving. I turned around. I walked away. I went into the HR building and I resigned. I had enough. And I told him why. I had enough. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't. And I walked away extremely battle scarred, wounds all over my body, spiritually speaking. Walked away like that. Oh, it took me several years and to try to heal from it. It did. But, I had all that past time. All the other times that I didn't do anything, it just walked away, ran away. Sometimes I went away crying because I was a little girl and ran away crying. My feelings got really hurt. I didn't have the strength within to stand up. Didn't to the real world. So I ran away. That was my weak area. I admit that is my weak, that is at certain instances a weakness for me. But in that one instance, I overcame it. I did. And just wouldn't listen. So I took a beating. I took a beating from life. I did. Big hurricane. You know what's in those hurricanes, in those storms when they come? It's all this other debris flying around and stuff that's going to get you. It's going to drown you. It's going to cut you. It's going to shred you. The longer you stay in it, that's what happens. And until you do what you got to do, it ain't going to leave. I did it. Then I wasn't finished. After I left, I did some more. I handled it professionally too. I did. And I got some attention from it. I let my voice be heard way up there, the top echelons. I did. Then it came time for me to come back around. It's in a different area, but this time it was different. It was different. I was still shaken on the inside because I knew those foes were still there, that I had to work around. But I was separated. I was personally and purposely isolated from them by the management. And I was told, the deal is, I don't know who they made a deal with when they brought me back. You are to stay up here, and they are to stay down there. See, one time, I had to go check something out, and I had to walk way down this area, past that area where the trauma occurred every single time. Every single time the trauma occurred in that area, there was very bad energy in it. But I just had my eyes fixed in front of me, and I walked past, and I could feel the stares. I felt the stare of this one individual who hated me, literally hated me. And I did not realize how terrible the hate was. I didn't even make it halfway back to where I was. That individual went and got the head of that place that I worked at, pulled the head person out of their business meeting and said that I walked through their area. He said, "What you doing?" I said, "Well, I had to go check on this work that was down here in this area right here." He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, this is it right here." So he goes, "Well, You're not allowed to do that. I said, who said I'm not allowed? He goes, well, we had a deal. If we were to bring you back, that we would keep you isolated, that you would be in this zone right here, this protective zone, and you wouldn't be down there. I said, I didn't know that. I did not know the conditions at which I was brought back in. I didn't. I didn't know there was a deal. But I guess they had to make a deal because of what I had done, of what that last thing that I did. I let my voice be heard way up there. I didn't even know if it ever got heard. But it did get heard. When I left the hurricane in that area, and then it spiritually went to work. After I left, it didn't leave. It kept making its rounds too. But when they brought me back, I had more growing to do. Jeannie, you're talking. Well, I ran my whole life from certain types of confrontations, certain types of situations. I ran my whole life, and you're talking about a 50-some-odd-year-old woman. My whole life I ran. But this time, it's different. This is my 4th time. And I was in a protected zone. And they were very protective of me. I'm so very thankful. It was like I was able to heal. I was able to grow. And it was wonderful. It was so wonderful. And then came someone else into the picture. Then came this older woman. Oh my goodness gracious. It was something else I had to learn to grow beyond. She was she came across as very stern and in your face. When she spoke her mind, and she really didn't mean anything by it. That was her personality. She was taller than me. She was probably, my goodness gracious, she's probably 5 or 6 inches taller than me, but she had a domineering personality. She did, and I was doing my thing, and I thought I got it all together. Then she came, and then the stress came. I thought, I don't know how to deal with her personality. She's telling me how to do my job when I'm trained to do my job. But yet she's over me now, slightly over me. And then she's telling the people underneath me how to do the job that I was showing them how to do, that were under me. And I'm sitting there thinking, we can't even get the job done now, and I'm responsible for the jobs that are getting done. And you're telling them something completely opposite of what I've told them to do. Then she's telling me what to do. She's driving me batty. She's driving me batty. I would tremble on the inside when I saw her coming up, coming out of the office, walking to where I was. I thought, here she comes again. And she would just come to talk. She would just come to talk, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'm trying to get my work done. They're trying to get their work done, and you're standing around and you just want to chit chat. Could you please help me? She didn't want to help. She wanted to chit chat. And she's making me nervous, and I'm trying to do this work on the computer and stuff like this. She didn't know how to do it. She had no idea. But when she came in there, she acted like she knew how to do everything, and she was given the orders, telling me how to do what I know how to do. and other people when we know how to do it. We've been doing this. You ain't been doing this. You walk into this area and you're trying to tell everybody else how to do it. And you got a personality that I'm not wanting to confront. I did not want to confront her personality. It was very domineering, you all. Let me have a drink. Well, time went by, and I saw a softer side to her. I did. She had a soft side at first. We had something in common. We did, and it was spiritual. It was she would pray. She really did care about the people. She had that part about her. But that other part dominated that one part. Oh my gosh. And before I left that place. That was the last job I was at. Um, I held up as long as I was supposed to. And I learned whatever it was I was supposed to learn from this woman who entered my life. Because the last time she got up in my face, 2 times, I found the courage. I did. She would ask me, why am I doing what I'm doing? And stuff like that. And she would keep repeating what she wanted to tell me what to do over and over. And I said, you know what? You are repeating yourself. Now you sound like my husband. And I took 1 step toward her. She's still standing there because there was a gap. Then I took 2 steps toward her. I said, do you realize that you are repeating yourself over and over? I get it. I get it, what you say. You do not have to continue to tell me what to do. I know what to do. She puts her hands up in the air. She takes a step back. Okay, I got you, Gina. I got you. It's okay, it's good. I didn't know, because I never spoke up. That's why she didn't know. She didn't know, but that day I thought, no, I'm going to speak up because you're rattling my nerves. And she was rattling my nerves. I was starting to get really stressed in my spirit. And I knew I had to speak up. Well, I found the opportune time. I did. And something changed that day. But I was knowing within my spirit, Gina, you're doing all the talking. Well, I'm talking about what were you running from? I ran my whole life from certain situations. And it worked until it didn't work. And I'm on my 4th go around. This was the last job I was at before I resigned. I respectively and willingly resigned to do this full time. I knew I had to. My time there was ending. I was there for probably 2 years. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. I remember even up until the last day that I had put in, I'm going to leave day, I thought, God, please, if I am making a mistake, let me know beyond a shadow of a doubt whether I am to stay or whether I am to leave. It was a good job. It was. And I had a lot of friends. I had a lot of friends in this whole area except for the handful of troublemakers. The very last day, we had some big wigs come in. And I was talking to them and stuff. And it was all right, you all. It was. Then she came around. She came around and she was doing stuff and things. And she was going to throw me a dinner, a going away dinner. But she wanted me to come in on my day off, fill out the paperwork past the time that I put in for my resignment, because I said, no, when that time comes for me to resign, when that's my last day, I'm not coming back inside the building so I can come back in and physically sign something for you. I'm not going to do it. She didn't like it. She didn't. So, Gina, how dare you? Well, I found my voice. I stood my ground. Then I told the next higher up, I said, do I have to come in on past the time that I have put in for my resigning date to do this? She said, no, you do not have to do it. You do not. I appreciate everything you've done here. You're going to be greatly missed. And I was. She said, you don't have to. She went back there. She said something to her. And this is my last day, within minutes, this was my last confrontation. This was the final straw. This is what I've been praying for. This is what I asked God to please show me. Then she came back up there. How dare you go behind my back and tell the big woman, tell her that I asked you to come in. How dare you do that? Why would you do that? And she was mad. This is my last day, and I'm just looked at her. I didn't move an inch. I said, because I told you I wasn't coming back in. I've already taken care of it. I'm not coming back in after those days that's my final day of resigning. She was furious. She understood. She walked away. It's my last day. You're in my face. I got the message, God, loud and clear. I didn't see her. For 3 or 4 hours, she disappeared on me. She disappeared. And I asked one of the co-workers, I said, have you seen her? I have not seen her. I said, after this incident happened, she goes, oh, yeah, we've been in the office blowing up balloons for your going away dinner. I'm thinking, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I thought, I can't wrap my mind. I still cannot wrap my mind around that. I can't. You get in my face, you say what you want to say, and then she just drops it. She just drops it. She's in the office blowing up balloons. Then comes time for our lunch. She buys the food, and we all sit down and we have our last meal together. It was a wonderful meal. There was peace at the table. We had our final supper, all the people that I worked with. And she gave me gifts. And she gave me hugs. By the time the night shift was over, my going away was in peace. It was... I cannot explain it. She was the final thing that I had, the final spiritual boss that I had to face before I left that place. I faced her. And I can tell you from my heart that I'm so very thankful that she was placed into my life at that specific moment in time, because she helped me grow in a way that I needed to grow. I didn't have a voice. I thought I found my voice, but I needed a little bit more experience, real world experience. And she didn't bite me whenever I would have to speak up, she would never like bite me. She just speak to me and she would let me speak, but I was always terrified. But she never did nothing back, really. She was very forceful, very domineering. She was, you all. And it would always be pulled out of me. Gina, you've got to speak up. I could feel the spirit in me saying, speak up and speak out. She may not like it, but what's she going to do to you? It was hard every time I had to do it until the last day, I just stood there. I was happy because I wasn't coming back. And she said that and I just smiled. Now, I didn't really smile, but I wasn't upset. I let her say whatever she wanted to. I did. Then I just shook my head. It's wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm friends with that lady today. I am, and I really do. I love her. I do. She's a good, strong Christian woman. She is. She's got a lot of. She would pray for anybody if they needed it. It was a good learning experience. It was. But when I first saw her, I thought, oh my gosh, you got me in this place of safety. You got me in this healing pod, this healing place. And now you throw in the final boss. It's like when you play a video game, you had the final boss. Then you pass the test. And you leave on good terms. You do it the right way, Gina. You didn't run away. You became a big girl, and you found your voice, and you stood up, and you left in peace. I did. I've been talking for 36 minutes. What are you running from? That was the message. I wanted to go back to sleep, but that was the message that entered my mind. I pulled myself out of the bed, and I came up here. This is for you. What are you running from? I ran 3 times. By the 3rd time, the hurricanes of life got me and shredded me to pieces. And the more I ignored it, the worse the beating got, spiritually speaking and emotionally speaking. But I did what I had to do. And then the 4th time, it was the time of healing, place for healing. And I'm thankful. I can say I'm thankful for all the life lessons that I've learned, especially in that area. It has helped me. It has helped me tremendously. There are other areas. There's one area that I kind of run away from, but I'm not running no more. I'm not running. I'm not running. I don't need to run. I got that part. I got that part. I do. You got it? You got it. You got it. You can't run. You might have ran. You may think, and you'll get to the point with certain things, especially the harmful things. It's gonna bring you good, and you're running from it. You don't run from the good things in life just because you've not experienced them, just because they might make you feel a little uncomfortable. No, you don't run from the good things. You just say, okay, what's the worst thing that's going to happen to me? What's the worst thing? Because you can't think of any bad thing that's going to happen to you. Yeah, you can't really in the big scope of things. You can't. You can run. You can run your whole life, even in your 50s. But those storms of life are going to chase you down. And they're going to beat you up. You're going to get a beating until you listen. Until they got your attention and you stand there and you face it. Then and only then can the healing begin. Really. And then comes the next part. Then you get the goodness and mercy that follows you the rest of your life. You do, really, think about it. then you get the peace. You live your life in peace somewhat. Um, I hope this resonated with you if it was meant for you to hear. I can look back on it and I can draw from the experiences that I have. After all, if they hadn't happened, I would not be who I am today. Every single person I encounter, every single obstacle, every single circumstance that I ran from that I wouldn't face, everything that I dealt with the wrong way, it's who and it's what has made me who I am today. You can say the same thing. You can. The key here, the main thing to learn is to grow. Grow. That's the only way you're going to be strong enough on the inside of here. And it's that love that's on, at least you got something that you can draw your strength from. God is love. Jesus is love. It's the love. You got a never-ending flow of strength that you can just tap into, and it's love. Strength and courage. It's all on the inside of you, and so much more beyond that. So much more good things for you inside of here. Once you overcome those things that you're running from, and it don't happen overnight. It takes time. And you may have been running for a while. You may have been healing for a while. But the best is yet to come. Think of it that way. The best is yet to come. Because you've faced a lot of the battles. You could be just getting out of the hurricane. Or you've been out of the hurricane for a bit. And yeah, it's the peace. It's the rebirth. The rebuilding that comes after these massive storms of life. It's the rebuilding that takes place, and it's beautiful. At times it really is. That's one thing to look forward to. It is. You get there. You will. I am going to go. I didn't look at the comments, but it's the message that was on my mind, that was laid on my mind. So I come up here and tell it. Just let the words flow. You just got to let it flow from you. You do. So I'm going to go. And may the peace that passes all understanding fill your heart this day. And may you get the life that you're wanting, really. May you get the life that you want. And go for it. Go for it. And hello, wherever you are, in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your morning. Thank you.